OpenAI is doomed. Why the king is finally starting to lose its crown. So, is the king of AI finally wearing no clothes? Think about it. When the very people who championed the AI revolution starts pulling their funding and canceling their accounts, we have to ask, is OpenAI actually a sinking ship? Can a company survive when its biggest partner is looking for the exit and its original founder is suing for the keys to the castle? So I've seen the giants fall before, from Blockbuster to Nokia, and today I'm going to show you the data that proves that OpenAI is following the exact same path. The era of ChatGPT dominance is totally over, and what's coming next is going to catch most of you completely off guard. So if you're still using ChatGPT, you better watch this. Let's dive in today. Welcome to Startup Pack. I'm Spencer, and here at Startup Pack, we love to build custom software solutions for companies. With a decade of executive leadership as a fractional CTO and 25 years in software development, I've mastered transforming tech teams and products. All right, now before we get to the meat of why OpenAI is in serious trouble, do me a huge favor. Leave a comment down below on which AI tool you're actually using daily. So it's honestly my favorite thing, and the best compliment you can give me is when you leave a comment. So let me know and drop a comment down below on which AI tools you're using. I read every single one of these because I love hearing from you guys. Now, the first mover advantage is a powerful drug, but in my years of building tech, I've seen that high is going to wear off fast. OpenAI isn't just slowing down. They're losing the trust of the corporate world and the developers who made them famous. While we're seeing a massive exodus where paying users aren't just looking at other options, they're actively converting to competitors like Claude, Gemini, and Grok. When internal Microsoft documents start showing friction, your own CFO is publishing reports that hint a funding crisis. The writing isn't just on the wall, it's written in neon lights. We're going to break down today some of the reasons why OpenAI's empire is crumbling. So let's jump over here. So Jason from the All In podcast said, cancel our corporate OpenAI account today. We're spending $10,000 a year. XAI is better for real-time data. Gemini is better for travel, local YouTube. Claude AI is much better for corporate, co-work, and project features specifically. ChatGPT isn't keeping up in my opinion, and I don't trust them with my corporate data. Long game, but I think ChatGPT is fourth place now. I would actually put them way worse than fourth place. So guy who gives Elon cheese and says Elon's cheese is superior to other cheeses, whatever. Like, these guys are trying to call him out here, but cancel ChatGPT as well. All three of these are best trio. This guy's saying, hey, you don't know how to use it. Clouds always perform better. Anthropic much more have stayed true to their values. I currently keep my GPT Plus account for Codex, but if he's using it for Codex, he should really get onto Claude Code because it's way better than Codex. Not even close. Like, every single benchmark, Claude beats Codex. So, I mean, we can go through all the comments here, but let's read a couple of these. OpenAI is scraping the internet so aggressively, the sites are now forced to defend themselves. So this has actually been a real thing. Almost every single client that I've been working for, we've had to figure out how to try to block the GPT bots. GPT bots generated 569 million requests in a single month on Vercel's network alone. One site owner reported losing 30 terabytes of bandwidth in a single month to OpenAI's crawlers. And for every page visit OpenAI refers back to the website, they crawl 1,000 pages. They take 1,000 times more than they give. And that right there is like the real story of all this, right? They take 1,000 times more than they give. So 5.6 million websites now block GPT bot. That's up 70% since July 2025, and 13% of AI bots requests are now ignored robot text entirely. See, this is one of the problems with it here, is even though you can mark your site as robot.txt until it don't search this, it just ignores it. This is up from 3% from last year, and I bet it's a lot higher than that actually. They're not even pretending to follow the rules anymore. We've dealt with this ourselves here. We have features that let users analyze subreddits and find similar communities. GPT bots discover these pages and start scraping them relentlessly. The volume was so aggressive and so frequent that it was effectively attacking our infrastructure. We had no choice but to block it through Cloudflare. Other AI bots were nowhere near as bad. GPT bots crawl faster, more frequently, and a scale that dwarfs the rest. Dennis Schubert, who maintains infrastructure for the Diaspora, I don't even know how you say that, social network, said it perfectly. They don't just crawl a page once and then move on. Oh no, they come back every 6 hours because LOL, why not? So read the docs, blocks AI crawlers and saves $1,500 per month. Their traffic dropped 75% overnight. This wasn't human traffic, this was bots. Cloudflare launched a pay-per-crawl feature so publishers can start charging AI companies for access. The question everyone is asking, why is GPT bot so much more aggressive than every other AI crawler? Is it poorly written code? Is it intentionally? Is OpenAI just grabbing as much as they can before the window closes? Nobody outside OpenAI knows, but website owners are done waiting for answers. This just kind of shows how slimy OpenAI is and what they're doing here. Now, the Microsoft OpenAI files, internal documents reveal the reality of AI's defining alliance. So the launch of AI Lab would redefine Microsoft caught by the tech giant by surprise. Did we get called to participate? Satya Nadella wrote on his team's December 25th, 2015, hours after OpenAI announced its funding. AWS seemed to have snuck in there. Nadella had been Microsoft CEO for less than 2 years. Azure, the company's cloud platform, was 5 years old and chasing Amazon AWS for market share. In the internal message, which hasn't been previously reported, Nadella wondered how the new AI nonprofit could remain truly open if it was tied to Amazon's cloud. Within months, Microsoft was courting OpenAI. Within 4 years, it would invest $1 billion, adding more than $12 billion in subsequent rounds. Within a decade, the relationship would culminate in a $250 billion spending commitment for Microsoft Cloud and a 27% equity stake in the most valuable startup in history. New court filings offered this. So here's the biggest part. OpenAI has disputed Musk's account. Okay, sorry, I can't skip this because it's important. For this story, GeekWire dug through more than 200 documents, many of them made public Friday, in Elon Musk's ongoing suit. According to accusing OpenAI and CEO Sam Altman of abandoning the nonprofit mission. Microsoft is also a defendant. Musk, who was OpenAI co-founder, is seeking up to $134 billion in damages. Now, the thing about this is he's going to get this, guys. Like, he actually has them pretty dead to rights, that they have a bunch of documents showing that OpenAI purposely frauded Musk out of this money. And he will win. He'll win this. And he'll end up being the biggest owner of OpenAI. Now, OpenAI has disputed Musk's account of the company's origins, and this is totally Sam Altman, because how do you know if Sam Altman's lying? If his lips are moving, right? And see, they're refuting it, saying, oh, this is the truth that he left out. But it doesn't matter what they say, because at the end of the day, they knew that Elon Musk had invested over $200 million into a nonprofit with the intention that it would stay nonprofit, that it wouldn't go for profit. So he forgave his shares, but then these guys, Sam and all the others, turned around and immediately started to raise all this money and eventually bought in, let Microsoft buy in. So the thing about this is that when he's seeking this damages, he is going to win this, right? Because the short of this is that I love pop-ups. Pop-ups are my favorite. OpenAI, So the truth is that he will win this, because OpenAI is changing their corporate structure. It continues to raise money, even though Musk has in written proof that he gave in over $200 million with the intent that it would stay not for profit. So it says, I wonder if the big OpenAI donors are aware of these plans. Scott wrote, ideologically, I can't imagine that they funded an open effort to concentrate ML, machine learning talent, so they could then build a closed for-profit thing on its back. The latest round of documents filed as exhibits in Musk's lawsuit represent a partial record selected to support his claim in the case. It doesn't matter if it's partial or not. It is enough, then he will win. Microsoft's relationship with OpenAI has been one of its key strategic advantages in the cloud, but the behind-the-scenes emails makes it clear that Amazon was actually there first. According to an internal Microsoft slide deck, they're finding that OpenAI was running its research on AWS. On part of a deal, it gave it $50 million for computing and $10 million in committed funds. The contract was up for renewal in September 2016. Microsoft wanted in. Nadella reached out to Altman looking for a way to work together. In late August, the filing shows that Altman emailed Musk about a new deal with Microsoft. I have negotiated $50. Do you have any reason not to like them? Musk, co-chair of OpenAI at the time, gave his blessing to the deal in a unique way, stating with a swipe of Amazon. But says, I think Jeff is a bit of a tool and Satya is not. So I slightly prefer Microsoft, but I hate their marketing department. Altman responded that Amazon started really messing around with us. And then ultimately, Microsoft and OpenAI announced their partnership in November 2016 with a blog post highlighting their plans to democratize artificial intelligence and noting that OpenAI would use Azure as its primary cloud platform going forward. Now, In 2017, Musk spoke with Nadella directly to pitch a major expansion. OpenAI wanted to train AI. The computing requirements were massive, 10,000 servers equipped with the latest NVIDIA GPUs. This would obviously be a major opportunity. And I'm going to kind of skip through this because I mean, you can read this whole thing here. The thing's really detailed. But in short, in June 19, email to Nadella and Bill Gates, previously disclosed in Google antitrust case, Scott cited the search giant's AI progress, one reason of Microsoft to invent an OpenAI. He got very, very worried, he explained. When he dug in to try to understand where all the capability gaps were between Google for us and the model training. So it goes on, and in September 2020, Musk responded to reports that Microsoft had exclusively licensed OpenAI's GPT-3. This does seem like the opposite of open, he tweeted. OpenAI is essentially captured by Microsoft. And this is when things really then started to turn sour. And Microsoft, or excuse me, OpenAI and Musk had a falling out. So this goes all the way down to it, but they ultimately found OpenAI announced it would unwind its cap for profit structure. Internally, this initiative was called Project Watershed. The mechanics played out through 2025. On September 11th, Microsoft and OpenAI executed a memorandum of understanding with a 45-day timeline. And then as it comes down here, they don't go all the way through it. But ultimately, at the end, Musk is fighting this in court, and it's not a court battle that's going to go away. They've got some pretty damning evidence. Now, let's go to this one. Why I deleted ChatGPT after 3 years. Ads are the only symptom of a bigger problem. GPT ads are a deal breaker. OpenAI announced this week that it will start testing ads in GPT's free tier. This means if I pay, I'm safe. It also means that I'm forced to pay to be safe. It also means that if I can't or don't want to pay, the tools that I've been using as assistant for 3 years will care about someone else's interest before mine. Now, surprise, they're a business. So I don't know that I have super sympathy for this author. The economics of the frontier AI models are incompatible with the neutral broad. See, the problem here is that all these large frontier models have been being funded by investors, and now they're trying to turn to profitable, right? And not even pro users at $200 per month being profitable. So it means that they're going to have to continue to raise rates, and surprise, people don't like paying for this thing that they've enjoyed for free. So it's kind of like crack, where they've gotten them addicted on things, and then now they're starting to make them pay, and now they're going to turn to the cheaper meth because it may not be as good as the really high-end crack, but still gets the same bump, right? So these kind of people are going to continue to move because right now there's only 35 million paid subscriptions out of the approximately 800 million weekly active users. See, OpenAI is just burning cash. And that's what we're going to get into here. The unprecedented burn rate, Wall Street estimates, before turning profitable, OpenAI will have accumulated a losses of $140 billion. Now, let's kind of jump through this graph here, because this graph is pretty crazy. In order to get to any kind of level of profitability, they're going to have to burn through $140 billion before they could even project to become profitable. Now, part of this projection is that they are going to turn some of these 800 million weekly active users into paid users. Now, right now, the 35 million are paid. So that means, roughly less than 5% of these are paid. And they're going to basically turn another 5% worth of paid with ads. And they probably will, and they'll probably make some profit off of that, but they'll also get a lot of people who leave because of it. So you're going to see that this green is going to continue to burn higher and faster than the red, which is their gross revenue. And that's even their gross revenue. Their burn rate will continue to outpace this. Now, they're betting that their revenue will eventually grow faster than their burn rate. My prediction is that burn rate will continue to grow faster than the red. See, the problem is we've hit the point of diminishing returns. They can train for 100x to get 2 or 3% better. And I think 2 or 3% is a stretch. If you've used the latest 5.2, you know that it's not any better than really 4. We've had very incremental improvements from 4. Now, have they strapped on some other things around it? Sure. They're actually starting to build some software other than just the AI. But so with that, you're going to see they're going to continue to spend 100x every release just to get a fraction of a percent of increase. And that's what we're going to continue to see over and over again. Now, let's look at how Gemini enters the race, right? So web traffic, ChatGPT has fallen negative 22% in the last 6 weeks since the Gemini 3 launch. And this person says, time for 5.3. Now, this was only 16 days ago. This was a Reddit from 16 days ago. And he's giving this, he's quoting Didi here, which says, why OpenAI is in a code red. In the 2 weeks since Gemini launched, GPT unique daily active users, 7-day average was down 6%, okay? Since then, it's dropped in even another 22%. Now, people are saying they actually prefer Gemini, and a lot of people are talking about different things. He says, I've noticed this. The last 2 days have been mostly great. I'm experiencing the opposite. He says Gemini is bleeding context between the chats. See, everybody's continuing to see this, but what we're seeing is over and over again, we're seeing this entire thing just repeat. And we're seeing the same things over and over again. Let's take a look at this here. So at the beginning of the year, see, we don't even have anything here because Gemini wasn't even really on the map. Now we see Gemini starts to take off here, and this is near the beginning of 25, right? We see Gemini start to take off. We see Gemini go to 5%, up to 5 more percent, 5.3, 5.4, and we see it continue to eat a lot of its lunch. So we see Gemini taking 12.7% of the traffic. At the beginning of the year, GPT was at 85%. Or sorry, this is October 2023. It went right after ChatGPT, a year after GPT launched. Now we see September 2025 that it's down to 76%. And we're seeing that that has even continued to increase since GPT-3 launched. So this was as of September. So we already saw this downwards trajectory, and we're going to continue to see this more and more over the coming weeks. So the industry leaders are officially closing their corporate accounts and walking away from ChatGPT hype. When prominent investors like Jason Calacanis cancels a $10,000 annual subscription, it sends a massive shockwave through the tech sector. It isn't just about saving money. It's a clear signal that the value for the price just isn't there anymore. We're seeing a shift where the first mover is being replaced by tools that actually understand a professional workflow. See, ChatGPT is no longer the undisputed champion, and many experts now rank it a distant 4th, 5th, or even 6th place. Users are finding that XAI's Grok is significantly better for real-time data and keeping up with the speed of social media because it's being fed by X. Google's Gemini has taken the lead for travel, local search, and anything involving the massive YouTube ecosystem. For corporate projects and team collaboration, Anthropic Claude is winning because it actually feels like a coworker instead of a simple bot. When it comes to coding, Claude Code is by far and away the best tool. All of the other frontier models are now beating OpenAI in every single category. So the biggest hurdle for any enterprise software is trust, and OpenAI has failed that test absolutely miserable. Major companies are becoming increasingly vocal about not trusting OpenAI with their sensitive corporate data. When you're building customer software, you need to know your IP, and you need to know that it isn't being trained to your competitor's next model. And based on the way that OpenAI is just completely throwing caution to the wind and scraping everybody's website to the point that they're getting blocked, shows that nobody trusts them. We've seen too many stories of data leaks, vague privacy policies that make legal departments very nervous. In my experience, once a corporate client loses trust in your data handling, they almost never come back. Privacy isn't just a feature, it's a requirement for survival in big leagues of software development. Now, so the feeling that ChatGPT is falling off is becoming a common sentiment across the development community. When competitors are launching massive updates to context windows and project features, OpenAI is totally stuck in a loop. Being a generalist tool is fine for students, but it doesn't help a senior developer solve complex architectural problems anymore. The heavy reasoning that used to set them apart is being matched or even surpassed by all the newer models. In the tech world, if you aren't sprinting forward, you're effectively standing still while others lap you. This lack of fresh, meaningful updates is making the Plus subscription feel like a waste of money for most people. I personally don't know anybody who's actually still paying for ChatGPT. Now, I know a lot of people who are paying for other services. Here at Startup Hack, we're using a lot of different services. We use Gemini, we use Claude Code, we use many different tools. One of the things that I will never put my money into is in OpenAI. Now, Elon Musk isn't just a loud voice. He's a massive legal threat who knows where the bodies are buried at OpenAI. The ongoing legal battle is likely to stop OpenAI from fully converting into a for-profit entity as they planned. There's even an outside chance that Elon could end up owning a larger percentage of the company than Microsoft does. This legal instability makes it impossible for OpenAI to have a clear long-term roadmap that investors can bank on. A company fighting for its life in court rarely has the energy to win the war in the marketplace. Now, Elon's goal seems to be exposing the open in OpenAI, which would destroy their current competitive advantage. Now, the alliance that defined the AI era is starting to show some very ugly cracks under the surface. And leaked internal documents reveal that Microsoft is looking for ways to reduce its reliance on OpenAI's technology. When your biggest benefactor starts building their own competing models, your days are officially numbered. Microsoft is a business giant that doesn't like being dependent on a partner that is constantly in the headlines for the wrong reasons. This partnership was a marriage of convenience, and it looks like Microsoft is already looking for a divorce lawyer. Without Microsoft's massive compute power and checkbook, OpenAI's burn rate becomes an immediate death sentence. Now, OpenAI CFO Sarah Friar recently published information that paints a very different picture for their financial health. But of course, that's what she's going to publish. And part of that, which goes against everything else that we've seen, shows how much OpenAI is not being truthful in its actual disclosures. The cost of training these models has absolutely skyrocketed, but the conversion rate of free users to paying one is absolutely stalling and starting to drop. A company can only survive on venture capital for so long before it actually has to turn a real profit. So we're seeing signs that the funding frenzy is cooling down as investors demand to see actual returns on their billions of dollars that they've already put in. If OpenAI can't find a sustainable business model soon, they'll run out of cash despite their massive valuation. Now, long-term users who have been with ChatGPT since the beginning are finally hitting the delete button. After 3 years of usage, many power users are finding that the tool hasn't grown with their evolving needs. The novelty of AI has definitely worn off. And now people are just seeing ChatGPT for the cheap parlor trick that it is. When your core fans start writing why I deleted ChatGPT articles, you have a big brand problem. It's much harder to win back a user who left out of frustration than it is to find a brand new one. The market is moving away from the one bot to rule them all and towards specialized domain-specific agents. That's why here at Startup Hack, we're building systems, like you can see this one over my shoulder, where we build very domain-specific or niche down AI technologies into current tools that become good at solving specific domain problems. This allows you to use these tools in your business. This allows you to use these tools in your business and to be able to become master of one thing rather than master of none. Vertical AI that focuses specifically on coding, law, medicine, or other things provide much better ROI for businesses. So after developing for so long, I've seen that specialized tools always win over generic software in the long run. How many times have you seen one CRM that rules everything? Instead, you see CRMs that are built for a specific use case, and that's what these use cases use for. AI is going to follow the same pattern as what we're seeing with SaaS. Enterprises want tools that understand their specific industry jargon and unique compliance requirements. OpenAI is struggling to pivot because their entire architecture is built on being broad, horizontal platform. Now, small businesses need AI that is easy to implement and provides an immediate boost to the bottom line. OpenAI on enterprise features are often too expensive or too complex for the average small to medium business. Competitors are offering much more plug-and-play solutions that don't require a dedicated prompt engineer to use. The Learn Web development crowd is also shifting towards more accessible tools that offer better mentorship features. Now, OpenAI is failing to capture the massive middle market that actually drives long-term software adoption. All these factors point towards a future where OpenAI can no longer exist as an independent entity. The combination of legal fees, massive compute costs, corruption inside, a talent overturn, and declining user trust is a recipe for disaster. They're stuck in a winner-take-all battle, but they're far from being the clear winner. We will likely see a scenario where the company is either broken up by regulators or sold for a fraction of its peak valuation. The doom isn't necessarily that the tech will disappear, but that OpenAI, as we know, will finish it, and the problem is that so much funding money has been burnt into it. The next era of AI will be defined by those who focus on utility and trust rather than just being the first person in the party. Now, curious to hear what you guys think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Love to have a great conversation. So make sure you like and subscribe, and make sure and if we can help you with building out your custom software, check out startuphack.com, and here's some great information about our services. Hi, I'm Spencer, a fractional CTO. With over a decade of executive leadership and 25 years in software development, I've transformed technology teams and products for businesses just like yours. As your fractional CTO, you get the strategic guidance of a seasoned technology executive without the full-time commitment. Perfect for companies ready to leverage cutting-edge technology without expanding headcount. My team at Startup Hack has already built advanced AI agents for small and medium businesses, automating complex workflows and delivering advanced ROI to human workflows. We specialize in creating custom software that connects your systems into a single coherent technology ecosystem. Our development approach focuses on tangible business outcomes. For one client, we developed AI-powered workflows that cut days off of human processes. For another company, by connecting multiple systems, we reduce processing time to increase their ROI by over 75%. We don't just write code, we architect solutions that scale. Whether you need cloud system architecture, data integration between legacy systems, or custom AI agents that automate your unique business processes, my team delivers results that exceed your expectations. Having led technology for a lot of companies and launched 7 successful brands of my own, I bring battle-tested expertise to your business challenges. Our specialty is turning technological complexity into business advantage. So if you're ready to harness the power of AI and custom software to drive your business forward, let's connect. Together, we'll build technology that doesn't just solve today's problems, it positions you for tomorrow's opportunities. Technology leadership, decades of experience, AI powered. Reach out today and we can help you. Check out startuphack.com/Spencer.